We back again. Come on. We back again. Yeah. We back again. Come on. We back again. No line, no shine. We back again. With your bellies on. I was hurt my cone. 6 minutes. Big Bruce, you on. Oh. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Back in this piece. We back in this piece. Yeah. We back in this piece. What up, y'all? Welcome back to the No Line, No Shine Network. Ladies and gentlemen, every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time, we bringing you the best in the world. The big boys in the trenches, the ones in the middle, the one that's last in the 110s. But you need them if you want to play football. Yes, indeed, man. We appreciate y'all for checking us out every night. Oh, it's on, baby. It's on and popping. Yeah. Bruce Davis in the building. Come on. Bruce Davis in the building. Bruce Davis in the building. Super Bowl champ. All the way from the big state. He from Texas. He went to UCLA. Huh? Talk to me, Big Bruce. Oh. It's the show, baby. It's the show. No line, no shine. Every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time, we bring you that heat. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Hey, we ain't going to waste a lot of time. We're going to get back on it, man. Time is valuable. But it's going down. I got Big Bruce in the big house. I got Big Bruce in the big house. I got Big Bruce in the big house. Yeah. Alexa, stop. I didn't think she was going to listen to me. All right, y'all. We back again, man. Again, we appreciate y'all for checking us out every week. No Line, No Shine Network. Today, man, put your hands together. We got a Super Bowl 43 champ. UCLA Bruin alumni. All American, all pack, all everything, all Mr. Texas, Houston County. Oh, he bringing in that heat. Yeah, big 5'3" in the building. Go talk with us tonight, man. So y'all chime in, tell your family members, tell your friend, invite them in. Let me see where you at, Big Bruce. Are you in here? Oh, no, man. You got a request to join, man. I'm going to put you on in here. Bruce Davis going to be in the building tonight, man. Bruce, where you at, big dog? Holla at me, champ. Hey, Damo, CEO of the No Line, No Shine Network. Appreciate you, man, for allowing us this opportunity to talk to the big boys, man. A lot of times they don't get to shine, but you gave us this opportunity and this wonderful platform, man, to shed some light on them big boys in the middle, the one who's getting the sacks, the one that's stopping you from getting the sacks. All right? Where you at, man? Bruce Davis, where you at in the building? I know you a lineman. I know you a D lineman. Y'all come in last, but it's all right. We need you to make it happen. Yes, indeed. Jimmy, good looking, you man. Appreciate y'all for coming on. Where you at, man? You got a request to jump in here? BD, request to jump in here, and I'm going to throw you in here. It's the plus sign. That is, y'all. I told you. He coming. Free, where you at? I can't keep going, man. I'm a big boy, man. What I tell y'all? That's what I'm talking about, man. What's going on, champ?
How you doing, man?
Oh, man, look at that wonderful, beautiful baby you got there, man.
Got the little one going today. It's almost bedtime, so he wanted to say hi before bedtime.
Oh, man, what's the baby name?
Kingston.
Kingston?
Yeah.
Is that the first one, only one?
Yeah, first one, little boy.
Oh, that's a blessing, bro. Hey, everybody, y'all give Kingston some hearts out there, man. Yeah, Kingston Davis in the building.
Say hi.
What's up, King?
Yeah.
You get to hang out with the No Line, No Shine with Uncle Ike.
Say what's up?
Oh, he already gonna be a superstar, Bruce.
Oh man, he got these big old hands.
I already see.
He's aggressive. Oh yeah.
Hey, y'all give some hearts to Kingston out there, man. How many months is Kingston?
He's 4.5 months.
Man, that's a blessing, bro.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful, man. Family man, dad.
Yes,
you look like a proud dad.
Oh man, that's the best, man.
There you go. Give him some hearts. Don't give him one. Get Kingston some more hearts out there. Y'all in the TV land. Yeah. Throw it up for my nephew. You see that, Kingston?
Yeah.
He looking like, man, I want I want
He's
some
like,
pudding.
I need to eat. He said, Mama came in, he needs to eat. Here, mommy.
That's a beautiful. Tell moms I said hello.
Hi.
Hey, Mama D. Jump on in there. You got to show your face or something, Mama. You can't
Come
just
here, Mom.
you can't just say hi and then jump out of here. Hey, Mama. I love it. Hey,
Yeah.
we love the Davis family, man. Man, what's going on with you?
Dad life, man. Enjoying dad life to the fullest, man. It's such a blessing, and you know, having a little boy is something special, man. It's like he grows every day, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just like eyes on him all the time. I can't take my eyes off him.
I look at you, man. That's a beautiful thing. I remember that time when my first child, my son came, and man, you couldn't tell me nothing, man.
Nothing.
You know what I'm saying? It's a boy too.
Huh? Yeah.
It's a boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You beating your what? Who decided to name him Kingston? That's a beautiful name, man.
I came up with it, and then like we had a list of names that we were kind of working on, and at first we were going to name him Bruce.
Of course, BJ. Of course, BJ. Right.
But then we decided to go with Kingston. I actually I had a buddy that I played with at the Raiders, and his son's name was Kingston, or is Kingston.
Okay.
Loved the name, so that's where I first kind of heard it, and then I was like, oh, I love this, and I took it to my wife, added it to the list. She was like, I love it, let's do it. So Kingston.
How is that, man? Were you in the delivery room?
Yes.
What was that experience like to you? I know we go jump into football and stuff like that, but how was that experience, man?
It was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. So my wife had to have a C-section.
Okay.
We planned it though. So
okay.
We went in there, and you know, once she went in the room, I had to wait a little bit while they got the anesthesia together and all that.
Yeah,
but once they allowed me in there, it was like 2 or 3 minutes, and the doctor was like, all right, I'm getting started. And then he came out, and I saw him come out, and he was just kicking and screaming on his way out. And I was just sitting there like, I was just mesmerized by
right,
that, like,
right.
This is my son.
This is my seed.
Yeah,
it's a human being.
Yeah, it is a whole person. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, man, it was just one of the greatest moment of my life, hands down.
Of course, man. Again, big ups to you, man. I give you a lot of props, man. You and your wife. I see the smile. You got $1 million smile on your face, and you should, bro.
Yeah,
hey, it's one of the best feelings, like you said, in the world, man.
Yeah, it's like every day. It's just like I wake up, and then, you know, he wakes up and looks at me, and then he gets excited all over again.
There you go.
Got another day together to just be the boys. He was actually with my buddy. Me and my buddies hung out yesterday, so he got to hang with the fellas a little bit.
Come on, see, yeah. They don't get no better than that.
Oh man,
I got one in high school, bro. Well, I got 2 kids in high school, actually, Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
A son and a daughter. So it go by fast, man. Enjoy it, bro.
I am.
Enjoy every moment. Take pictures.
Yes, sir. I do.
How does your family handle it?
My phone is now pictures of my son. Like, that's it. That's all. I find myself all day, every day, like, oh, he's doing something new. Let me get a video. Let me get a picture. So I got literally probably 1,000 pictures and videos of this kid.
I know the fellas want to know this, man, and I don't really mean to put you off again in the corner, man, but did you cry, bro? Did you cry?
You know what? I thought I was going to, because, you know, I was the type of dude that before a football game, I'm so hyped. I'm gonna cry. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just that kind of dude. But
yeah,
surprisingly, I was just stuck in awe. I was just like, you know what I mean? And then, so when he was born, I didn't cry. But then, like, later that night, like, when they, you know, they brought him back in the room, and him and my wife were sleeping, and I'm just kind of sitting there, I'm staring at them both, and then I just started crying, because it was just such a, like, world-changing thing. So, yeah, super emotional, but it, again, best experience ever.
That's wonderful to know. And you know what? A lot of times people don't realize, excuse me, that athletes, man, we're the normal people, bro. They got feelings.
That's it, man.
You know what I'm saying? And you bring that out, man. You think all football players are just like tough and they don't care and they just, you know, they're regular people with feelings, man. You got a wife, you got a son, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You appreciate it like anybody else.
I do, man. And I'm like, I don't take any of, like, being a football player, having been a football player, for granted at all. Like, I understand it's such a giant blessing.
Yeah.
To be able to do what you love and get paid for it on a professional level. So for me, it was like, I always was just like, man, this is such a blessing, and I love
Yeah.
what I was doing. So I never take anything for granted, and it's just like, man.
That's amazing, man. I just love to see your smile, man, and hear you talk about your
Hey,
son.
so
Man.
much to
That's
smile about, man. Got the son, got the wife. We're on live.
You living the dream.
Talk about some football. It's a good day.
Come on, man. Look, hey, Bruce.
Day.
So you 6'1"? You 6'3", right?
Yep.
What made you choose football? I know you come from a football state.
Yeah.
You come from, Texas is a football state.
Definitely.
What made you choose football instead of basketball or track? Because I know you're pretty fast for a defensive end.
Yeah, so I always ran track. My mom actually ran track at UCLA for a couple of years. She ran with FloJo and all them back in the day. My mom is a monster athlete.
It makes sense. It's making sense.
So I got the speed from my mom, but my pop played in the league too. He played 12 years in the NFL, went to UCLA as well. So football was just something I kind of grew up into. And but I played everything but football until I got to 7th grade. Like, my pop was like, I want you to play basketball. I want you to play track. Like, I want you to try different things. Like, I was always outside on a bicycle. I got little brothers a few years younger than me. Like, we were just always kind of outside.
Yeah.
And my pop's just like, look, like, and he's had a bunch of knee surgeries and finger, and he got his throat split open in a game. Like, so he was just like, man, like, it's a lot on your body. So let's try these other things. But I mean, inevitably, like, I grew up knowing who my pops was, and like, I was a good kid, but there was a few times where I was a knucklehead, and my pops, like, I remember one time I got in trouble at school for fighting.
Uh-huh.
And I was just, he said something about my mom, and I'm not,
Right.
You know how boys are.
Yeah, definitely.
And I thought, like, my parents were we got whoopings around my house. So I was coming.
Me too.
Like, man, like,
yeah,
man, I'm about to get it right.
Right.
And I walk in, and my pops was like, come on. And I'm like, here it goes. Like, I'm prepared for it. I'm like, man, let's do it. Let's just get it over with.
Yeah.
Sat me down. The first thing he said, did you win the fight? I said, well, yeah, I won. And he was like, all right. And so, he gave me the whole rundown about, what I wanted to do in the future, and, how, like, little stuff like this could throw you off the path, because he had been there before, right? So, and then I remember he broke out his 2 Super Bowl rings. He played for the Raiders. He got the one against the Eagles, and then the one against the Redskins.
So what position your dad played? What position?
Offensive tackle.
Oh, wow.
Which is super helpful for my career. We'll get to that. But, so he broke those 2 things out, man. And, I sat there and I listened to him tell me about, like, the discipline that it took to get to that point, right? Okay. Or, like, how you got to stay on this path, and there's all these distractions. And then he was like, put these on. Right. And his hands were gigantic. Up until a few years ago, I think he had the biggest Super Bowl ring ever made. Like, my pops is a massive human being, right?
Yeah,
so, I put those things on, and I just remember they were loose on my fingers.
Uh-huh.
They were huge, right? I was like, man, I looked at them at that moment. I said, this is what I want. I want this, right? Wow. I've got to get to this. And I made that decision right there with him, that no matter what, that I was going to do whatever I had to do in school. Handle the stuff in the classroom, handle the stuff in the community, not running around being crazy, fighting and all this other stuff. So I made that decision right then and there, like, this is what I want to do. I still played basketball until 10th grade. And then, the colleges started coming around. I started playing well. So, they start coming around, and I realized after 10th grade, I was like, I've got a real shot at this. So I quit playing basketball. But I still ran track, because my mom and dad both were like, yo, you got to keep your speed up, like, unbelievable. You know what I mean? So I ran it, and I ran the quarter, I ran in the 4x4. Wow. I ran the 200. I did the long jump, and every now and again, if somebody was hurt, I would run the anchor on the 4x1. So y'all listening out there? Okay, look. Are y'all listening?
Did you hear what this man said? And see, this is the advantage of having parents that are very knowledgeable about not only just the athletics, but just the culture of it.
Mhm.
Being that you're looking at the bigger picture, and we got parents these days, man, they just looking at my child now. Your parents seen the big picture. You need to run. If you're gonna play football, you need to know how to run.
And look, I'm not I was the best at the quarter in the 4x4. I'm fast for a D lineman, but compared to,
I mean,
like our all county running backs that were out there, our all county, quarterback / receiver / corner, like
yeah,
that was real speed. Those kids were running 4.4s back in the day, like
right,
in
legit
high school,
4.4s, right,
legitimate
yeah,
4.4s back in the day. So I was out there those kids are fast. So I didn't win every meet, but
it didn't matter.
It didn't. And for me, it was just another step in the process as far as just building myself athletically and just
Yeah.
being well-rounded. So, and I enjoyed it, man. My track coach was a great man. Like, his son was actually the star receiver on our football team. He was a track coach, and he was a varsity football coach.
Okay.
His son, man, was like the man, right?
Really?
Oh, the dude, he handsome dude, tall, playmaker. The girls loved him. The city loved him. Like, he was the man. And so I kind of I watched him like a hawk, right? Like, I even, started getting my hair cut like him, you know what I mean? Like, I started getting the same fade and the whole nine, right?
Yeah.
I was just like, man, if I want to be like that, I need to, be like the cats that are out here really getting the job done. And so I kind of patterned a lot of my, myself, my style, my swag on the football field after those guys.
Clear Creek High School.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Am I correct?
Yes, sir. League City, Texas. Little small town south of Houston, man.
Yeah, man. You did great things, man. I think you had, like, your senior year, you had 12 sacks.
Yep.
I think like 17 tackle for loss.
Yep.
And then here come everybody.
Yeah. I like the first offer I got in 10th grade was from the Citadel. Because my freshman year I played on the freshman team.
Yeah.
I broke my hand on like the second game in. Like, broke my thumb really bad. It was clear I was going to be sitting out. So I was like, man, I'm behind the 8 ball. Like, I was like, look, as soon as my hand gets right, I'm going to just work out and, start hitting the weights and the whole nine. And then I played great my sophomore year. And the first offer I got was actually from the Citadel, which is a military school.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, look, I got this. And my pops was like, hey, this is the first of many,
Keep working.
And then, I just kept working. And after my junior year, I think I came like 3rd or 4th in MVP voting. And then it really started, like LSU started showing up, UCLA, Texas A&M, all the Southern schools, except for the Florida schools.
Mm-hmm.
And that left me with a little chip on my shoulder until later, that the Florida schools. But we ended up at UCLA playing against Bobby Bowden, who recently passed away.
Right.
The greatest coaches ever. And after the game, I was like, man, I'm like, if Florida State would have offered, I'd have gone.
Right.
I just loved them.
Florida was big time. That was big time football. Yeah.
Huge program. Huge program. And so I was like, man, I got to go see Coach Bowden. It's a once in a lifetime thing. Like, how many other times? I went up to him, and the greatest compliment I got, one of the greatest, was, he goes, man, I wish I had you on my team.
Oh, wow.
And I was like mesmerized, because this is Bobby Bowden we're talking about.
Yes, the legend.
The legend, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And he was just like, man, I wish I had you and 10 more like you on my team. And I was like, man, I said, thank you, coach. Like, I appreciate that. Like, I grew up watching you in your program, and this from you was a giant thing. So that was super cool, man. Super
what
cool.
made you out of all of those schools, though, like, BD, living in Texas, man, it's hard not to play for UT.
I committed to Texas.
Right.
As soon as they offered. This was right before my junior year.
Right. Which makes sense. Right.
And I was like, me and my pops would drive up to their spring games. When they had their big recruiting days, like, we were always there. So I knew the coaches, like Mac Brown, like, would call the house. The defensive
Mm-hmm.
coach would call my house, like, the whole nine. Like, they rolled it out. And then I just had this realization, man, like, I was just like, let me take these trips and see what's what. So I kept committed to Texas. But I was like, I'm just, they called like, oh, we heard you're going on a trip to Arkansas. We heard you're going on a trip to UCLA. We heard you're going on a trip to Colorado. So I was like, I just want to, kind of enjoy the experience and, see all these different places and all that. Cause it was it was cool, man. Like you get to go and you get to hang out with these players that you only see on TV. So I'm like, I'm going to take as many of these as I can.
As you should.
And, I think they kind of got the feeling after my junior year that I was looking to go elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
They put the full court press on. I mean, they came up to the school, when they could. They came to the house. They would call, on a weekly basis just to check on me, like, yo, how you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm good. But then, so after, right after my senior year, I was still undecided. I took those last few trips in UCLA. So I went to Colorado. So I'd gone to Arkansas a few weeks beforehand, which was great. SEC programs are fantastic.
Yeah.
But it was Arkansas. Couldn't do it. And I go to Colorado, which I really was high on. Eric Bieniemy was a coach there at the time who I loved. Canavis McGee, who was one of the great pass rushing
McGee
stance guys.
That's all my era right there, man.
So Canavis, like I got really close to Canavis, who was one of the all-time greats at Colorado.
Yes, sir.
And I really loved it. Really, really enjoyed the culture they had up there at the time. A lot of black coaches up there, which I really loved. And so I went to Colorado. The trip was fantastic.
Boulder, they take care of you in Boulder?
Lawrence Vickers was my who's also a Houston dude.
Okay.
Lawrence Vickers took me on my recruiting trip. I'm just gonna say it like this, man. I had the most fun. Yeah, exactly. So it was. I'll never forget that as long as I live.
That's right. It
snowed while I was there. And I was like, man, this is beautiful. But this snow, it wasn't like a little, it was like 2 feet. Like this. We are snowing.
It's snow,
right?
So yeah, right.
I was like, man, like I love it here, but can I do this for half a football season?
Right.
So I was like, man, let me just go on this last trip to UCLA. And at that point, I was surely going to Colorado. So, man, I got on that plane from Colorado. I went straight to UCLA.
Westwood, baby.
I hopped off that plane. I saw the palm trees. They took me down to Gladstone's down there on the beach.
Yeah, in Malibu. Malibu.
Look, I was there 2 hours, and I called my pops. I said, "Hey, man, pack it on in. This is where we headed." Right?
Yeah.
And I already had the family connection because both my parents were athletes at UCLA. And my godparents, Eric McNeil, who was a hurdler at UCLA. He qualified in the Olympics, but they didn't go because it was Munich. He's my godfather.
Okay.
So, I just had a lot of family ties up there, and I got there, and it was just like
home.
So we did all the little stuff in Westwood, which was fantastic. Westwood is beautiful. College town. I saw the school campus. They actually had, which I thought was a nice touch, they had some of the Laker girls show us around campus, which again, I'm 17, so I'm like, yo, like we're in the
right.
So I loved it. And then what really sealed the deal for me was, so they took us all to the Rose Bowl, right? So we got to see the grounds outside. We saw the field. We saw the locker rooms. And back in those days, they had the little jerseys with your name on there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they were like, all right, go up these steps and we're going to escort you up the railway. And I'm like, all right, I thought we were just going to go see the press box or something like that. I come out of this main tunnel up there in the Rose Bowl across from the Jumbotron. And they said, now starting for the UCLA Bruins. And my high school number was number 98. And they were like, number 98, Bruce Davis. And they had a little highlight clip of my high school stuff.
Wow.
In the Rose Bowl, crowd noise just blaring. And I literally it's one of those moments that defined me as not only a football player, but as a person.
Right.
That's when I decided, this is where the next 5 years of my life are going to be. And it was just so spectacular. And then I felt like, yo, this is like a family thing for me. And it ended up being a great move. So
Definitely, man. You pretty much answering all my questions that I had for you. Just asking you, like, what made you choose UCLA? And like you said, man, I didn't know your dad and mom were Bruins.
yeah, yep.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, my uncle, my dad's brother too. They played at the same time at UCLA. Like,
what year? Do you remember what year that was? You don't know.
They were there from 75 to 79.
Was that Terry Donahue? That was before Terry.
Donahue. Yep, that was Donahue.
Coach Donahue. Wow, man. Great man, too. He was a great man. I think, God bless his family, man. I think he passed
just recently, just about a month or so ago.
Yeah. Great program, great man. And you know what? You made an impact in the Pac-10. Well, was it Pac-10 at the time?
It was 10 at the time.
Yeah, you left a footprint, bro, that'll never be forgotten.
Yeah.
And
Thank you, man.
I'm serious, bro. And then just looking at the type of person, seeing the type of person that you are and the foundation that the Davis family helped groom you to be, like this wonderful specimen of a human being, father, husband.
Thank you.
And, you know what I mean? And just see your eyes just glowing, man. Looking at little Kingston, man, that's amazing. And I don't think enough people see that side of, like you say, athletes, Super Bowl winner.
Yeah. That's the most important part. Like that was the entire foundation. And I've had cats ask me like the young ones. Because I've been fortunate enough to work with Jason David, another Super Bowl champion. He has a facility in Anaheim called Stars. So I've been able to kind of help out some guys that are coming out for the draft, and then some young kids. And they always ask me like, what's different between you and the guy who's just as talented as you or more talented than you? Because there's plenty of those that have not made it to where you are. And I always tell them it's like 5 or 6 decisions in my life.
Come on.
That's it. Like there's really no magic formula. It's like 5 or 6 decisions that were made. And I realized I had a lot of help. And I know a lot of these cats.
That's important.
Don't have that support.
Oh man, that support is key.
And so I always try to be that as when I'm, working with especially little kids.
Yes, sir.
Because football is a black male dominated sport.
Right.
And so a lot of the kids that I coach, they come from, they come from Compton, or they come from Crenshaw, or they come from Inglewood, and they got a lot of questions, and unfortunately sometimes these kids don't have the best influences, and it just happens like that sometimes. Again, like I said at the beginning, I know I'm extremely fortunate to be born into the family that I was. But like I always tell these kids, man, it's like 5 or 6 decisions in your life.
Wow.
I like when there would be school dances, I wasn't there.
You
know what I mean? Like I was working on football, whether that be mentally, whether that be physically, like whatever it was. Like, I was like, nah, you know what? I'm not gonna go to that party because I'm not. I didn't drink in high school at all.
Okay.
I did nothing. Like I was like in the books, like, and if it wasn't like an athlete party or like people that I knew, I wasn't gonna go. And
so how did you maneuver through all those distractions? Like, how did you, as a young athlete, highly touted athlete, how did you maneuver through all those different distractions?
Again, it was just those decisions I made. And look, there was, I don't know if you ever seen Varsity Blues, the football movie.
Yeah.
It's very much like that in Texas. Like my whole little town used to shut down to come to the football games.
Definitely.
Definitely. One time I had a really great game against our crosstown rival. We go to the grocery store. My mom probably had, because I had a little brother and older sister, my pops, big man, my mom was an athlete. So like we eat in my family, right? So we went to the grocery store and, we're getting our food for the week. And this is about 2002. So it was about $300-400 worth of food. And the person behind us in line was like, you had a great game. You're such a great young man. We love you. They paid for our groceries.
Wow.
Right. So
amazing.
So, like Texas was like that. and so all the distractions came with it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like they all, girls,
Yeah.
parties. There was
Yeah.
obviously, you know, even at a young age, like these kids have nowadays, there's drugs all over the place. There's
Right.
alcohol all over the place. And I just made the decision. I was like, look, like football is more important for me.
Yeah.
And once my pop showed me those Super Bowl rings after I got in that fight, I made that decision and it was like, you know, I always wanted my parents to be proud of me and I wanted them to trust me and trust my judgment.
Right.
My mom used to say, I'm so glad that all your friends' parents, when they talk about you, they say how respectful you are. Or they treated their house with respect, or that you talk to them, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, kind of thing.
Right.
And so, you know, those are the little decisions right there. Like I was talking about, it's like 5 or 6. Like, don't get in that car with these cats that are older than you that you know are going to start some trouble, right? Don't be out in the city of Houston running around when you're too young to be out there anyway, right? Don't be drinking. Don't be doing drugs. Like, you know, all that stuff.
Scarface and the Ghetto Boys.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, come on. Come on. You know, Mr. Scarface, like, come on. You know
Robbing little tricks for bags.
Yes, sir.
Hey, everybody get down with Houston, man.
Oh, man, DJ Screw, Chocolate Screw, the whole nine. Like, and so there was all of that.
Yeah.
30 minutes away. And I just made the decision, like, this is more important. I was a part of a fight later on. I didn't swing back, right? And this is a crazy story. So there was just this cat named Anthony. And, you know, he wanted to fight for whatever reason. You know, the kids in the schoolyard circled up and it was like, fight, you know, the whole nine. And I'm sitting there like ready to protect myself, but I'm like, you can't swing on this dude. It's Friday. You got a game tonight. Right. So Tony, and Tony's a little dude, big mouth kind of kid, you know what I mean? Like always with the whoopty whoop. He like, I was just kind of like dodging him, right? And then he caught me one time. Everybody was like, oh. And I remember standing in that circle, I was so mad. I felt my fist clench up so hard that like my fingernails were gonna make my palms bleed.
Ooh.
And one of my homeboys was behind me. He was like, "Dog, you got a game. Like you can't let us. Like we need you."
Yeah.
So I didn't hit him back, and everybody was like, "Oh," and they was like, "Man, Tony beat your ass," and blah 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 blah. I was like, "Yeah, all right, whatever." I went. They asked what happened. I kept my mouth shut. I said, "Man, it was no big deal, right?" We took us to the office. You know the rules. Like you can't tell on somebody. Yeah. So I was like, "Nah, you know, it's no big deal. Like nothing really happened. It was just woofing back and forth." And they were like, "All right, y'all get out of here." Went on to play the game that night. Game went really well. Now fast forward to it's like my 3rd year of college. I'm back home, me and some of my buddies, that are off at their other schools. Like we had a cat at ECU, we had a cat go to Arizona, we had another cat go to University of Houston. So we're all back at the same time because football season's over, and we needed some food. And at that time, we were still eating Jack in the Box, but we pull up a couple of Jack in the Box, right? Right. I pull up to the window, and the dude Tony, who wanted to fight me, was asking if I wanted ketchup with my French fries.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So that decision not to get down on that level and not to fight out of some kind of stupidity. Right. And just to walk away and be the man. Like it's hard to walk away.
Come on, man.
That's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do is walk away. Yeah. Right. Because and my boy, he was like, I could see in your eyes you wanted to just bomb on him. And even talking about it, I still want to what I mean?
Yeah, you want to get it, you want some get back.
I'm proud of you for walking away, right?
That's right.
Like I said, years later, we pull up to Jack in the Box and he's at the window. You know,
come on, you want ranch? You want ranch with that BD?
Yeah, you want dipping sauce kind of thing, and no shit him, but it was just again that was one of those 5 or 6 decisions, not to put hands on him, get suspended, not play that Friday night. Let my team down, let my coach down, let my family down, most of all, because my pops used to say, hey, look, when you go out here, it's not just you. You represent all of us.
That's right.
You represent everybody in our family.
Yeah.
So, he knew I was hot, too. But I was like, is what it is. Let me walk away. And that, like I tell the kids, that's one of those decisions. Not going out and partying is one of those decisions. Decide not to drink. Mm-hmm. One of those decisions, deciding to skip parties and social functions and all that kind of stuff because I would rather go be working on football or like watching film. Like my pops used to be like, I want you to watch this guy, right? Or I want you to watch that guy. So I'd be watching. I was glued to SportsCenter or ESPN all the time. I was watching the highlights. I was checking out the game. Jason Taylor was one of my favorite players of all time. Like I have a lot of my DN style after him, and
of course, one of the best to ever played.
And we ended up having the same agent, and we kind of look alike too. So it was just crazy. It was just a trip. But I used to watch him, and you know, how SportsCenter used to be back in the day. They was just playing on a loop.
Yeah.
I was so hungry to see the highlights and watch
my
idols play. I was watching it over and over and over. Or like one time, you know, I was like, man, I want to work on this 3-point stance because it's not working for me. My pops had me out in the backyard. You know, it's summertime. Kids out there at the park, at the pool, and I'm out in the backyard.
And it's humid in Texas.
And the heat and humidity of Texas, of Southeast Texas.
Yeah.
And my pops was like, all right, get down. He put a dinner plate on my back. He said, I want you to fire off the football and don't let this plate drop off your back. And that's how I learned to stay low, fire out, keep my back flat, keep my head up, the whole nine. Like those kind of decisions right there. Like I said, like that's the only difference between me and some dude who was probably a better athlete, better football player, you know, better stats. Because there's plenty of those guys. Right. Those guys are all over the place. You can go to any of these LA neighborhoods and you can find the best athlete you will ever see in your life.
You're right.
The only difference is the choices that I made. And that's the biggest thing, man. Like
support and discipline.
Yep.
You got to be disciplined, man, and then you need that support from your family like you had. Now I want to skip. Missed everything. You was always good. Basketball. You was a track man. Mom, dad played. So you know, hereditary. It's in your genes. You need genes too.
Yeah.
It's important. I'm gonna tell y'all that you need those genes. I don't care if your mama like 5'1", your daddy 4'2".
You gotta have them.
You probably won't play in the NBA. I'm just saying you may.
Probably not.
It's a strong possibility that you could, but you probably won't be in the NBA.
Yeah.
So you got the genetics. They gave you all the best advice. You watched film, unbelievable advice. You ran track, unbelievable. Great grades, missed all Pac-10, All-American college. You get drafted 3rd round. How was that feeling?
I remember, man, my year of the draft, you remember they had the first day was normally 3 rounds.
Yeah.
They spent the next 2 days doing the other rounds and, you know, the free agency and the whole nine. I thought because I had better stats than anybody in my position. You know, cats down the street at SC, you know, people in my boy Quentin Groves, who passed away a few years ago, went to Auburn. Like we were chasing each other the whole year. He was a dog too.
Right.
Southern Mississippi boy. So, you know, I was watching those guys and just, you know, like just trying to keep up. And, you know, it just worked out. Like it simply just worked out for me. Like I was able to go out there and just get all those sacks and, you know.
But they couldn't block you.
No, man. But before I had the attributes, but I'm gonna tell you what, like the coaches that I had when I first came into UCLA were vastly different than the ones that I had my last few years. Carl Durrell was the head coach.
Okay.
And he and I had a great relationship, still do.
Okay.
Right? Like we were very close. You know, I was like one of his guys, of course.
Okay.
But then we had a guy by the name of Dwayne Walker come in as the defensive coordinator.
I know D-Walk.
D-Walk was with the New England Patriots. He did things the New England Patriot way. And the D-line coach, Todd Howard, played with the Packers. He played in the CFL. Very knowledgeable, big dude, looked like me. You know what I'm saying? And you know, having a black coach that understood, you know, our culture was super important for the development.
Yeah.
And but he was just like, he saw something in me that the previous coaches didn't. Right? Like I didn't play my first 2 years. I redshirted my first year, and then my redshirt freshman and my redshirt sophomore year, I was playing maybe 10 plays, 15 plays a game, maybe. Right. But when I would go in and play, I'd make an impact. But I never I never started.
Mm.
And they came in, they were like, look,
We got to use this fast, boy.
First of all, they came in and they were like, I went and spoke to, the coaching staff, and I was like, all right, I just want to introduce myself. And I had a second to talk to Dwayne Walker, and I was like, hey, look, coach, I've been bouncing around, playing DN, playing outside linebacker, playing special teams. I was like, look, I'll do whatever, but like, I think I can make an impact with this special, at linebacker, like make an impact. And he was like, yeah, okay. So there was a handful of guys, myself, Chris Horton, Dennis Keys, Trey Brown, like they called us into the office. And at the time, I didn't realize what they were doing, but they were kind of figuring out who their core of guys were.
Right.
We had a couple of holdovers in the staff. So I go in, they call us in individually. I sit down, I'm like, how's everybody doing? I'm smiling like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Coach Walker starts off stone face, like Bill Belichick. He goes, I think you came up to my office talking about you want to play linebacker because you're worried about getting to the NFL. I was stunned because I'm thinking, okay, they're going to tell me a game plan. They're going to tell me what the defense is, whole nine. So I'm thinking he was like, this is what you're going to do. You're going to play DN because that's what we're telling you to play. And that's all you're going to do. This is D Walk was like, this is my show now. You don't dictate. And I was like, I walked out of that hot.
Wow.
But they had a vision that I couldn't see.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, fast forward, it worked out spectacularly. But Dwayne Walker, man, he was just one of those guys. And me playing DN and pass rushing ended up being the best thing for me.
Yeah.
So I didn't play for my first 2 years of eligibility.
Mm-hmm.
I played my last two and ended up second all time in sacks, third all time in TFLs, behind, the likes of Cardinal Lake.
Yes, sir.
Jerry Robinson.
Yes, sir.
Those are those guys. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Legend.
And I finished top 5 in like 3 or 4 different categories. And it was because I had a man that I respected come in and say, this is what you're going to do. We don't care what you want. This is what we see. And this is what you're going to do. If you don't like it, you can go. So I decided right then, I was like, I'm just going to shut up and I'm going to play football. Right. And it was the best thing for me to have an influence like that say, nah, like, this ain't about you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think I developed a lot. I grew a lot at that point, because I was always like, I gotta get on the field though. Any means necessary. Me. Right.
Right.
After that, it started being about us. Like, let's go out here and let's do this together, kind of a thing. So
that's funny you bring up Cordell Lake though, because he played at Pittsburgh. He went to UCLA and he played at Pittsburgh like you did.
That's a bad. I met him too, and he was like, "Oh, so you're the one creeping up on my records, huh?" I was like, "Yes, sir."
That's nice.
He was like, "I still got you in one category." I said, "You still got me?" I said,
"That's
you got
funny."
Me. I said, "Hey, look." I said, I only played 2 years though, so you just do the math. And he started laughing and all that. But
that's dope. That's amazing, man.
Yeah,
Bruce. Just even to hear your story, man. I mean, you have so much. You have like a wealth of knowledge, and that just experience. People don't know that you got to. Everybody think all the high school kids think you can come in and play right now. You said you sat down 2 years before
3,
even.
and I redshirted. I sat 3, and it's like. And here's the thing, though. I went in there and I ran reps with the ones my first training camp, and I had a few sacks too. But I was underdeveloped mentally. I was skinny as a rail. That 205 in high school. Yeah, they lie and say you 225, but I was 205. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I was great for a high school player, but I realized I needed some other things, right? And they had Dave Ball, who is the all-time sack leader at UCLA, was playing at the time. He went to the NFL. Rodney Leslie, D tackle, NFL. Ryan Boschetti, D tackle, NFL. Brandon Chiller, Spencer Havener, linebacker, NFL. Mm-hmm. Justin London, who's one of the baddest dudes I've ever played with at middle linebacker, and we're still tight to this day. So, I saw those guys and I was like, oh, this is different. There's some cats that are going to go in and play out of necessity. Right. But I realized at that point, I was like, this is a different, if high school's here, college was up here. Like the speed was different, the physicality was different, but the knowledge was different. Like, you know, we had our high school playbook. We maybe had 12 plays,
Right.
15 plays, you know, and they worked. We were good. They worked.
Right.
Right. Our coaches were great. So we executed. But I get to college and my playbook is like this.
And you have to know it.
And you know, before I knew the basic formations. I knew I formation, I knew split I, I knew, you know, the 12 personnel, blah, 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 11-3 receivers, one back, 11 personnel stuff. But I didn't realize how that we had to know every formation, that we had to learn the receiver sets, we had to know the name of every offense to be able to execute on defense.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and so redshirting for me was the best, and I was so furious. I was so hot because I played well enough
To play.
and some other schools I would have played, but not
Right.
behind the greatest sacker of all time at UCLA, not
Right.
behind the whole front line that went to the NFL.
Right.
I think 9 guys went to the league off that defense that year. So for me, it was just like I had to learn, you know, to sit back, mature. I had to gain weight for sure because I looked like a receiver. Matter of fact, Dino Babers, another great coach, he looked at me because he had worked with Larry Fitzgerald, and he looked at me. He goes, "Hey, you my new wideout?" I was like, "No, sir. I play defensive line." He looked at me like,
Yeah, right.
I was crazy, right? And you know, but that's what it was. I needed that maturity just because you don't realize, like, I was 17 when I got to college. So my first training camp, I was 17 years old because I was born in LA.
Yeah.
My pops played for the Raiders, but then
Yeah.
he was traded to the Oilers. So he protected Warren Moon's blind side, and we ended up staying in Texas because cost of living is so much different,
Of course.
right? Like, you know, what you pay out here for a house in LA,
It's a mansion.
same money and go down to Texas, you live next to Beyonce. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
you got a lake, horses, cows,
Come on.
everything. Tennis court.
Exactly. So we ended up staying, and then I came back to LA. So I was young. And so I showed up at 17. Now that I look back on it, I was wildly immature. I was super skinny, you know what I mean? And I just didn't have enough knowledge of the game. Even though my pops taught me so much, like versus an offensive tackle, what was going on with me in that 5 or 9 technique,
yeah,
and what the offensive tackle was going to do, I could have wrote you a book because my pops was a Super Bowl champion.
You know what? To be honest with you, did your wife? This is totally off. Your wife talked to you about this yet? You need to write a book.
Yes, we've discussed it.
You got to get it in, bro.
Yeah, we've discussed.
No. Seriously.
Yeah. See, that's I've heard this a few times now, so I'm
Bruce,
going to look into it.
Bruce, no, you got to do it.
All right.
I'll plug you up with a cat when we get off of here.
Yeah,
y'all
let me know.
talk tonight. One of my boys just wrote, and this ain't got nothing to do with this. Ain't no plug for him. The Ultimate Playbook, right?
I got to check that out.
Check this out. Alex Moden. This is my boy, right?
Uh-huh.
We played together at Oregon.
Uh-huh. Go Ducks.
Go Ducks. He was a first rounder. First DB taken in 96. His son just got drafted, I think it was 3rd, 4th round by the Titans. Elijah Moden. I hooked him up with one of my friends named Dr. Will Moreland, who was a coach. And he just completed the book, Ultimate Playbook for High Achievers. You have got to write a book. You got a wealth of information, bro. And I'm not just saying this.
Yeah, let's wrap afterwards, though.
Yeah,
I definitely want to speak to them.
Because you got it. I'm listening to you. You gonna do well as a public speaker. You gonna do well with this book.
Thank you.
You got a lot going on, bro.
Thank you.
And it's not over for you. Like, my thing is, when we stop balling, we don't stop balling.
Nah, it's always there.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's always there.
Be playing football, but we never stop balling.
Right. Because
you know what I mean?
It's up here now, right?
It's
just
a mindset and it's a lifestyle.
Right.
I see what you're doing with your kids, and it's crazy. You haven't even told your story yet, man. You got a Super Bowl ring. You and your dad. Like, you have a right? Was that Super Bowl 43?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
43.
Bruce, that's unbelievable. What, like, okay, you got a lot that I want to hear about, but how was coming through the tunnel, man? Like, right before,
It was
explain that to me, bro. The Super Bowl tunnel. We didn't ran through tunnels before, Bruce, right?
it was, and I didn't even play in the game.
Right, but just running through the tunnel.
We walked out there because let me preface this by saying I was on one of the best defenses to ever play the game of football.
Right.
Right, like James Harrison,
Yes.
Mar Woodley, Aaron Smith,
Come on, man.
Casey Hampton, Brett Kiesel,
Come on.
Ike Taylor, Bryant McFadden, Ryan Clark, the hardest hitter I've ever seen in my life, and the best football player that I've ever seen, and I will argue this with anybody till the day that I die. Troy Polamalu is the best football player that is Yeah. Oh, hey, look, you know, I respect some other answers, but what I've seen that man do with my own eyeballs, for example, we were in gold coverage, which is cover 2.
Yeah.
He's got a deep half of the field. Deep half.
Yeah.
He walks down to the A gap, jumps over the center and guard, tackles the running back. We go to the meetings the next week. And Dick LeBeau, Hall of Fame coach, he was like, "Hey, Troy, what were you thinking here?" He goes, "Oh, I just saw something, coach." It's like the things that I've seen, the one-hand interceptions, the tackles that he's made.
Yeah.
He tackled Chris Johnson in the open field. One of the fastest people in the NFL at that time.
Chris Johnson ran 4.2, right? Was like a 4.18?
1-on-1. And it wasn't like he shoestringed him. No, he went and fit him up. On a naked pitch, bang, and we were backed up. They were going in to score, and they've run this play. This is their go-to. I think they scored on that play like 75% of the time.
Right.
Troy comes out of from about 15 yards, inside out, bow, right in the legs. You know what I mean? So I played with those kind of cats. So,
right.
You know, I wasn't finna play with good cats in there. But you know what? Like, developmentally, that was another thing that was super important for me, because what I learned from them is how to be professional.
Yes.
Right. And I learned the value of, and I was lucky because Troy's locker was right next to mine. Right. And he is just a wonderful human being.
Humble.
Right?
Yeah.
And you know, when the first day I get there, I'm thinking, man, these cats don't know who I am. You know what I mean? I come in there, and Troy was the first person I saw. I've never been starstruck in my life. I walk in, I see Troy. I was like, and I think, and he laughed. I said, "It's you." And he was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "And the hair."
Right. Head and shoulders,
like,
baby.
And I was like, "Yo, it's real." And and then, you know, we kind of went back and forth. And then later that day, I come back to my locker because it's right next to his, and he's got the USC media guide opened up to his stats.
Right.
I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be like that, huh?" So, so I got to having to sit back and watch these guys play and learn professionalism and get even deeper with Dick LeBeau as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Keith Butler and Mike Tomlin, who I absolutely love. Though they just did things differently. But coming out of that tunnel and seeing all those flashbulbs, because I'd only ever heard stories about it, right? Like, I'd only heard stories.
Right.
And, you know, I used to sit there and listen to my pops and all his buddies, and like Sean Jones, and all those guys, like, you know. And you never understand it till you're walking out of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Right. And I just remember all these flash bulbs going off. I remember the smell of the grass. My pops was there on the field.
Wow.
And it was just like we were able to share that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's amazing.
It was this incredible thing. And I think there used to be only 7 pairs of fathers and sons to have won Super Bowls. But now Chris Long, Howie Long's son, who another great dude. Howie's a great dude. Chris is a great dude. they just entered into that as well. So
Okay.
we are one of 8 pairs of fathers and sons to win Super Bowls,
History.
which is something that even as I talk about it, like I get goosebumps, right?
Yeah,
Like,
you can't make it up. You can't. You can't just
and
make.
it's everything, like, not even really words for it. And to have my pops there, my mom, my brother, and my sister were all there. Like, my family was there. My brother came down on the field after the game, and
Wow.
we just lived it up, man. And we really, like, it's
Kingston don't even know. Look, Kingston don't even have a clue where he at.
Not yet, man. And I was with my buddies yesterday. Keith Rivers, number 55, played at SC. He was
I know Keith.
8th pick overall of the Bengals. One of the most athletic people I've ever met. My buddy Jason Robinson, who played at Boise State, another bad dude. He's got a VR company right now that puts playbooks into a VR set so you can watch them. Like, I was with them.
Wow.
In Kingston yesterday, and we just kind of shooting the shit, but I wanted him to be around that greatness. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I remember as a kid, like, when I go with my pops and his boys, like, that was my dad. Like, he was my dad. I saw him every day.
His pops. Yeah.
But I didn't realize how much of a monster my dad was until I was around those cats.
Yeah.
And hearing the stories they tell, and I'm sneaking a sip of beer while we're at Bennigan's and they're all, how old cats do, just lying and telling.
Yeah, extras.
Those are some of the fondest memories I have in my life, right? Hanging with my pops. So I wanted to take my son yesterday, and my wife and I talked about it. We were like, and my pops too was like, no football, man. If he can play football, he can play soccer, he can play baseball, he can play tennis, whatever. And I was like, yeah, we family athletes, so fine. Man, we were in Washington visiting my wife's family, and they're all Huskies, right?
Okay.
All diehard Huskies, right? So there was an old Husky game on. I come down. I was upstairs taking a shower. I come down. My son is with Grandpa watching the Huskies, and I can't make this up. He was like, ah!
No way.
4.5 months old. I looked at my wife. I said, well, that lasted 4.5 months. So I take him to see the homeboys yesterday because we were just around, and I wanted him to kind of, feel the vibe and like,
yeah.
Like, these are all brilliant, powerful black men. So I wanted him to be in that environment.
That's right.
And they're all great in their own right. Like, business people, art connoisseurs, athletes, like, just multifaceted human beings.
Great men. Yeah.
And so he was around them, and I could see him. He just watched everything we did.
Mm-hmm.
He just, every move we made, how we talked, and they looked at it, and they've met him plenty of times, but now he's much more like awake and aware
of what's going on. Yeah.
And, the first thing they said was like, yo, look at his hands.
You already know
his hands. They are huge. Like, this boy is long, he's tall, he's aggressive, which I love. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he's
looking like,
oh man, he's got.
You can do about it.
I'm like, man, I looked at my wife. I said, look like we got another DN in the field. So I had to call my pops. I told him last night. I said, hey, look, bro, I know we thought this was gonna end with us, but I said, maybe the next one.
Right. That's amazing, man.
He's a giant baby. He's very, like, vocal. He ain't saying nothing, but he's listening, and it's one of those things. And it's like I was telling my dad about it. He was like, he used to do the same thing. That, the presence of a father is so important because he soaks up everything that I do. Everything. So we came back from the fellas yesterday, and he was hyped up and real like, where's my food kind of thing, and like just banging his toys around. I was like, yep, that's it. It's over. He's the next DN.
He's here now.
So
it's Kingston show. Man, look, man, we're gonna have to get out of here. Look, do me a favor, man. I'm gonna have to touch bases with you during the season. Can I do that too?
Of course. Hey, anytime. Look, this kind of stuff to me, like, just to be able to sit here and
I appreciate
have a conversation with you, man. You have no idea how much I appreciate.
And I got some guys that I need you to probably talk to as well, man. Some kids, man. They look up to you, and they will love, like you was with Troy. It's amazing. Sometimes you never know
Yeah, you just forget.
You never know who watches you, man, and type of influence you have on other people's lives. Regular kid from Clear Creek High School.
Yeah.
You think you're a regular Jack in the Box ordering? No, you're not.
You just forget. So I'm gonna tell
You're
you
not
like
that anymore. Yeah,
whatever you need, anytime. My line is always open. Like this to me is so great. And my wife is watching, and me and my wife got together after my football career, so she only ever hears the stories. So to hear it from somebody else, she's probably like, oh yeah, like every time she's like, oh yeah, so whatever you need, we got to get on
awesome.
live, do another
That's
interview.
Awesome.
I
Mama
gotta pull
Davis.
up on you. I gotta pull up on the kids. Let me know anytime. I'm in LA. LA is my home.
Oh, I didn't know you in Cali.
I'm in LA, man. I'm right here.
Well, we LA based, man. So we got to
city I was born in. I was raised in Texas. Came back. My son's born in LA. Like LA is home. LA is my home for sure. So I'm here. Whatever you need, let me know. I'll pull up.
We're gonna sit down and do some things, man. I got a couple of things, man, that I think you'll be interested in. But you definitely, number one, tell the people out, man. We got 340 people on there. Look,
we got to get the book going.
Would you tell him? Y'all tell BD. Y'all tell him. Can we get some? Tell BD he needs to this book, man. He needs to put this book out. You got to put it out, Bruce.
We're gonna get it straight.
You know what I'm saying? Because
yes,
you got a lot to offer the world, man. We ain't gonna let. Yeah. All right, Mama D. I see you. I see you, niece. Yeah, we definitely got to put this book out, man. But you want to give a shout out to anybody before I let you get out of here, man?
Man, it's everybody who tuned in. I appreciate you guys, man. All the young players out there, anybody watching, thank you for stopping in and just listening. Man, y'all have no idea how happy this makes an old retired football player to get on here and be able to talk and hopefully have some impact. And like I said, like I'm in LA, so if you need somebody to speak, you need to camp, you want to get online and go live again or whatever you need, man. I realize how fortunate I've been to have all these things that I have, and I really want to make sure that the game's future is bright, and that that these young ones can kind of learn the right way and really get something out of the knowledge that I have, because that's what I got to do now. I always say I can't play no more, so I got to just give you mentally what I can. So I appreciate everybody who tuned in. Take about an hour out of your time to come listen to me chop it up, and get at me on Instagram. I'm always down for new friends, whatever. Message me, whatever. So shout out to all them. Shout out to my family, my mom, mommy. I know you watching. My sister, my dad, my brother. Definitely my wife for giving me my son. My little king, and to you and all of your viewers and everybody, man. Big Domo too. What's up, man?
What is okay before we get you out of here? We got one more question. What does no line, no shine mean to you, Bruce Davis?
No line, no shine to me. Like, I love the line because it's grimy in there. It's ugly. It's really dirty, and it's the most important part. If you realize it, like everybody behind the offensive or defensive line, nothing works without those guys up front. Quarterbacks can't do what they do. Receivers, running backs, linebackers, DB. So no line, no shine. We normally don't get that shine, but we set the pace up there. So no line, no shine to me I think it's something great, and getting them big uglies, as we used to call them, getting them some shine and some recognition, man. Just and more so than that, it just means football, man. It's the heart and soul of football, and to me, it's the best part, because so much goes on. There's so much drama in there, and so many one-on-one battles and all that. So no line, no shine, man. That's life. That's real life in there.
Ladies and gentlemen, yours truly, Uncle Ike, on the No Line, No Shine Network with your boy, Big Bruce Davis, in the piece. You already know he born in Cali. He a Cali baby. He moved to Texas.
Come on, you see the Mamba on there. You see the Mamba on there, right?
Oh, of course. With the Mamba too? What? Hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. We ain't no Spurs. We ain't no Mavericks. We're not no Rockets. I love Texas too, but
it's the Lake Show out here.
It's the Lake Show. Again, ladies and gentlemen, the Davis family, God bless y'all. Mom and Pop Davis, the missus,
Yes, sir.
nephew Kingston.
Yes, sir.
Yes, he's going to be a charmer, man. He's going to be all right, man. Appreciate y'all. Damo, No Line, No Shine CEO, I appreciate you, man. God bless, man. Let's do this again next week.
No
Again,
doubt.
man, we got to
No
get Bruce Davis. Say, Bruce Davis, Bruce Davis, Big Bruce, Big Bruce, Big Bruce. He giving us love. We going to show him love, man. I
Yes,
appreciate you, big dog.
No doubt. I'll holler at y'all next time.
I'm a DM you and give you the information, man. We got to get that book going.
Yeah, we'll exchange numbers in the whole 9.
All right, bet.
All right, later.
Ike and Rome, my guy from the Ike and Rome Show. No Line, No Shine Network. We out of here next week. We're going to show you some more love with some of the best high school, college, NFL players in the world. We out of here, baby. Big love to the Bruce Davis and his family. We gone.